I'll post, but wish you a safe journey too. So I recently picked up this diesel heater from Vevor because, you know, I've just been seeing these things and I've been really wanting one. Well, this would be awesome for camping and everything. The big question is, will it heat this 2-ish car garage? Now, I did get the portable unit. They have kind of more of a permanent install unit, and they've also got a shorter portable unit, but it's wider. So this is actually pretty thin. Should be able to take it camping and stuff. But I want to find out if it'll do better than my little crappy wall heater. For reference, my garage is pretty small. I mean, it's a 2-car garage. I do have this Jeep rock crawler in here and a 4-wheeler. This camera makes it look a lot bigger than it really is in here. The ceiling's really short on this side, but it just keeps going up. What normally happens is all the heat from the wall heater just goes straight up. So generally what I do is I've got that fan up there. It's pointed down at an angle and it helps circulate everything. You know, it works, but it could work better. So I want to see if this thing will work better by itself, or if two, if it's worth putting it up on that shelf right there and just running it in conjunction with that one to get things warmer in here faster. So this thing basically shipped put together. It just came with this, the little vent that you can put on, and some accessories, which is basically intake, exhaust, there's a muffler, and then all the clamps and stuff you need, and then this one flexible piece, which that's what this fits onto. And just for reference, this thing's about 15 inches tall to the body, but with the cap or the handle, you're talking 16 inches tall and about 6-ish inches wide. And front to back is, you know, about 15 to 16 inches. So overall, it's not too bad a size. And then it's got this little like filter, screen filter thing to go on it, bunch of clamps. That's the exhaust. There's like a muffler and screws and brackets and whatever. So I really wish that this vent would just fit directly on here, but it's the same size, so I could get a small piece and just bloop, pop it on there. And now let's open this up and see what the inside's got to offer. So this thing is powered by 12 volts, so it does just come with this lead with a 25 amp fuse on it. We'll figure out how we're going to power it when we're here in the garage. I have an extra battery that I'd probably just run. I don't have a 12 volt power supply or anything. And this is my first look inside this thing. That's basically the heater unit. You got your fuel tank. It's not secured down. Got a fuel pump here. And the fuel comes out of there, goes down through a hole in this and down. It actually comes out the bottom here. It goes right into the, can y'all see that? Maybe. Looks like we've got our intake and exhaust. I'm not sure which one's which yet. I'm definitely going to be going through all these connections and stuff and making sure everything's tight all the way. And I may find a way to secure this a little better. Right away I see something I don't like. You got wires going through with no rubber grommet in there, so I'm going to pull these through and modify that. And same right here where they go through this tray. The fuel line's touching right up against this metal edge, so I'm going to see if I can find some edge trim or something to put on there. So this thing is listed as being 8 kilowatts. They have a 5 kilowatt, and I think it even said they had a 3 kilowatt version. I just went with the bigger one. I don't know how that relates to BTUs. I can tell you this heater over here on my wall, that guy right there, pretty sure that thing is 17,000 BTU, and it takes it a while, but once I get it going for a while, it gets pretty decent in here. It's been on for about 2 hours, and right now we are at about 63 degrees. Granted, it's only about 30 outside, so it's not blistering cold. When it's like 5-10 degrees outside, it takes this thing a long time to get comfortable in here. So my plan for where I'm going to put the heater, I had a radio on this shelf, which I don't use anymore, and I think I'm going to put it there. And I'm going to drill a little hole through the wall there to stick the exhaust out. Now the thing about that is it has that muffler on the end, so then if I want to take this and make it portable, do I put the muffler on the outside or do I just not install it? I don't really know. But I'm going to go ahead and make these modifications. I'm going to check the connections, make sure everything's tight. And I also have to go pick up some diesel, and then we're just going to do a timed test and see how it does out here. So I found this old edge trim stuff. It's kind of just like got a split in it, so I think I'll be able to put that around this square hole in here to protect this little fuel line. And then I'm going to look for a grommet for this. this black cord to the front display was just like loosely hanging in here. I think I'm actually gonna send it down this hole, run it through here, and then back up through here, and it's just gonna make everything a whole lot cleaner. I feel like this is probably how this thing was designed to be routed, and somebody's just getting lazy at the factory or something, but good thing I got the patience for it. A little retainer clip. It's kind of like a fuel injector harness on a car. Got all tucked in there all nice and neat like. Maybe I can zip her up under there. I see another thing I don't like right offhand. This thing's screwed on here with these sharp pointy screws that are sitting right next to the fuel tank that's not secured, so we don't want those poking, so I'm gonna probably file those down. All right, so I think this looks a lot better. I went ahead and edge trimmed this, ran this down and under, and it's right under this lip. Got it zip tied there and there so it stays tucked. This piece ain't gonna go nowhere. Everything's looking pretty good, and now this plug I've got down there instead of up here, and to me this is just a lot cleaner. The one thing I don't like, this fuel pump thing, if you make it any more vertical it gets too tall and hits the top, and if you make it any more horizontal it gets too wide and it sticks out past the sides. But I don't really care for how this, you see how the fuel tank's kind of sitting like, because that hose doesn't really want to bend so well. It will push over and the lid will hold it there. It'd be kind of nice if they would have made some way to secure this a little bit. I went ahead and took the tips of them screws off of there. I put some of that edge trim right here just in case the tank ever rubs that. Obviously all this stuff is not stuff you have to do. It's just little tiny improvements. I put some trim there too. So I decided to pick up some extra pieces so that way the pipes that I put through the wall can just stay there, and then if I want to go mobile with this heater, I've got other pieces to take with, so I'll show you what we got. So I got an extra piece of exhaust tube. This one's longer than what I had, so I think the one that's on the machine will just go to the wall. Same thing with the intake, got quite a bit of it. And then I got this bulkhead thing, which is actually pretty cool. It's got rubber seals. Pipe can connect there for the exhaust, but you can also slip it inside of there. You just can't clamp it. And it's actually meant for vehicles, like for permanent install. But since I don't have to go through the full width of the wall here, since there used to be a window or something there, and the screws are long enough, I believe I can mount this through it. So again, I got all this stuff extra just randomly on Amazon. I can leave links down below. I'll show you what we're working with outside. Other than all the snow, I want to make sure that I get centered in one of these for that bulkhead thing. And I'll show you how we're going to do that. So this here is a line laser level that I have, and I went ahead and just put it on one of my old camera tripods. And the idea is, should be able to cast a line. Hopefully that's picking up on the camera. But if I set it just right, you can see it casts it over here on the wall too. So then I can get a measurement of exactly where the siding is and make sure I put this dead center on it. And then I can get my hole locations. I'm gonna pop outside the door here and see how close that lines up. And that actually looks like it's about right here, so I could maybe come down a ½ an inch and be good. Alright, so the mark here and there is roughly where that piece of siding is, so I just marked where I had it, and now you can see it's about right there, which is pretty close to in the center of that. I think I'm happy with that. Now I can at least start with a pilot hole over here, and as long as I like what it looks like outside, we'll go ahead and drill it. Now I do have to put 2 holes in here, one for intake, one for exhaust. Haven't exactly decided like how I'm gonna route them outside yet, but honestly with that much snow out there, if I can just get them outside, I can worry about what it looks like out there later. A little right on this crease. It's so hard, my arm is blocking the laser.
So I'm sure the drill's going to also. And then we'll just come like, I don't know, right here for the intake. So for this one, it's about a 1 1/8, and this one's a little bigger. Comes out to 1.378, so pretty much 1.375 is equal to 1 3/8. So those are the two hole saws we're going to use, but I am going to start with a pilot hole first just to make sure I like the location. It's like 0 outside, and I got to stand in 1.5 feet of snow to put this in. So you might think it's okay to just take this intake and leave it inside, and yeah, it'll work, but what that's going to do is it's going to suck air from inside your space and then push it out the exhaust, creating a negative air pressure in here. And negative air pressure is just gonna suck air in from outside from the easiest spot. And what's bound to happen is actually it could just suck your exhaust back through where you drill those holes and then get into your workspace, or if you were doing this in a vehicle, the vehicle. It's important to note that none of this air ever comes inside. It just comes in here, goes through the burner, and it exhausts out here. All the air that comes out of this comes in right here and just blows across the heat exchanger and out there. So you have to keep this area clear too, because this is actually where the air blowing out of the blower is going to come from. So by keeping this from outside and back to outside, it shouldn't create a negative air pressure or suck any of the fumes back in. Oh wow, that's thicker foam than I thought. It's like 1.5 inches thick. Alright, let's go outside and check it. Should have brought a flashlight. Woo! Okay, there we are right there. That's perfect. Hey, I did something right for once. Extension to get through the siding. Perfect. I forgot that I've got the old extendo kit for hole saws, so let's use that. Just wanted to do that now so I can cut away this insulation and get this out farther. Of course there has to be a second layer of that must be the original siding, is the exterior wall of this place. So I'm gonna have to cut that away too. Lovely. So this thing right here is known as an oops arbor, and what it does is if you, let's say you drilled the wrong size hole, like in this case when I want to step up to the bigger hole, it allows you to replace the bit in here with another hole saw. So all I got to do is place that in there, and now it will center the whole thing with this and then cut on this bigger one. If you've ever tried to use one of these without that centering bit, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's impossible. There we go. So now this thing should actually fit through there. Ooh, it's a little snug. We might have to just barely file it out a little bit. That'll do.
That'll do, pig. That'll do.
Sure hope these stay straight all the way through. I'm at a weird angle here. Oh my, the snow is deep. Oh God, it tore up the siding a little bit. Good thing it'll be covered. So it'll be the one on the right that I'm trying to...
I have it moved over. You're just pushing out. Okay, now push through. Okay, turn. It's like barely can see it through the hole.
Can you just run this through right where it's at? Just try to hold it straight and...
You got it in there? Yeah, I'm not seeing it or... Okay, I kind of feel it. You're not even near the hole. I don't know. It slid down. You're a lot closer. Just a little bit more to the left. You're like right there. Just a hair off. You got it. That's the fun part. Trying to feel for it real quick. You're just pushing me out. I mean, it's like right there. I can feel it. I can see a little chunk of it. It's out of the hole. We got it. Hold still. Let me grab the nut. Let me clear the hole real quick.
Can't feel my hands, but we got it. That was cold, but that's what it looks like. So now I'll put one of those tubes on there, and I don't know if I'm going up with it or down or what. The intake I'm just gonna shove through the hole for now. Boy, my intake tube is just long enough to go through the wall, and I'm gonna just do that up better later. For now, it'll tell us what we need to know. It'll let us test it. Boing-a-loing-a-loing. Alright, so there's this setup. I got a little bit of a loop in that. All I got left to do is go get diesel and test this out. How warm it gets in here after 3 hours of running. Because I know about what that one will get after that long. I don't know how well it's going to do. I don't know how much heat that thing puts out versus that. I got a feeling it's going to be slower than my wall heater. Long story short, I'll get some diesel and see y'all soon. I'm going to open this up just to make sure there's no leaks. Looks good for now, but I think I'll leave the cover off while we test it. So there's these shapes on the side y'all probably can't see, and I filled it right to the top of this one back here. But that way I can see how much fuel we consume after running it for a couple hours. This battery's sitting at about 12.1 volts, so it's a little low, but I use it to bench test stuff all the time. Throw it on the charger if I have to. I know these are just the highest quality terminals I'm making here. Oh yeah, it fired up.
Start heating.
Ooh, fancy, it talks to me. So that's what the screen looks like. I don't know how to get this thing off of metric. Oh, it's making noises. I'm guessing that click is the fuel pump. It's a little more annoying than I would have hoped, but maybe it'll settle down. I don't really know what any of the stuff means on the screen because I didn't read the manual. It's probably kind of boring to watch, but I figured some of y'all might want to see the initial first startup sequence. That's not really blowing warm yet. It says right here, after starting machine for 3 to 5 minutes, it will work normally and heat up. Please wait patiently. You can set the time on here and like set timers for it to run and all kinds of stuff. You gotta love the translation. High-end one with Bluetooth function. Instead of saying like high-end unit or something, high-end one. So just for reference, that thing just started pumping out warm air. It's 7:02. You can see it's 17 degrees outside right now. In here, it's about 29 degrees just because it is insulated, so it kept some of the heat of the day in here. I really don't know what these settings mean, so I'm gonna play around with this manual and see what all I can do with it. Actually, right now, let's see if we can find it on Bluetooth. I don't know if there's a way to do pairing mode or not. It's not showing up. It says here, after turning on the machine, press and hold power and mode for 3 seconds. The screen displays the Bluetooth name in 4-digit characters, but it says something about an app up here too. So I guess I'm gonna have to look for that. Gotta love Chinese instructions, man. There we go. It says search and download the corresponding app name Air Heater BLE in the iOS or Android store. Follow the steps to connect and control the heater with a mobile phone. Let's try it. SACN, I'm guessing that's supposed to be scan. We'll click that. Oh, that was easy. I don't know if that's saying that it's 15 Celsius inside of here. It's about 29 degrees, so I don't know. 116 meters of elevation. Is there really not a way to switch this to Fahrenheit? So one thing I was a little concerned about is where this goes through the wall. Is that exhaust going to get so hot that it burns it? Now that through hole bulkhead thing that we installed is actually double wall inside there, so it's supposed to be safe. But we're gonna get out the old temp gun, which, oh no, is my battery dead? Ah! Okay, well, we're gonna go find batteries for the temp gun. Stand by.
Later.
Okay, got some batteries. I don't know if y'all can see that. It's showing about 208 on the temperature coming out. I wanna see what the exhaust says. Oh boy, that's hot. 275. Now I'm gonna put it on that supposedly double wall bulkhead and see what it's reading. Ooh, wow. Even on the double wall part, it's showing 180. So I'm a little bit concerned about my siding. How about we go outside and check out there? This is pumping out some good air though. Yeah, so it's saying that the snow is 34 degrees even though it's 17 outside. This thing might be out of calibration. So this is what it sounds like out here. Don't judge my little temporary, I just stuck this on there with the muffler. Right here at the very base of the outlet, it's at like 160. The flange itself is 75. By the time you get all the way down here, it's like only reading like 50. And yeah, I'm literally touching this with my hand. It is not that warm, so it loses a lot of the thermal. Oh yeah, it gets really hot about right there. 107, 127, 130. Like I said, that setup's temporary until it's less cold out here to rig it up better. Whew. I think I said it was 7:02 when we started. It's now 7:18, but it took like 5 minutes for this thing to start blowing. So we're just gonna call it 7:05. So what I'm gonna do is come back out here at 8:05. That's what I normally do, is set an hour timer, and then I turn on my circulation fan because all the heat's just probably gonna go up there, and we'll check on it then. By the way, there is just a little bit of a smell with this. It doesn't even smell like exhaust fumes. It actually kind of smells like sawdust, which is why I just checked the temperature on that bulkhead. So I don't want to leave this unattended for very long. It's hard to bend that exhaust that comes straight out of the bottom. So if you look, I just scooched this over and it's been touching that wood and it has scorched the crap out of that wood. And oh my God, I just about caught paper on fire with it. Holy shit. I definitely got to block this thing up so that isn't touching the wood. It's been just a hair over an hour and it hasn't gotten that warm in here. We are up to 40 degrees. And now I'm going to turn that circulation fan on because I bet it's pretty warm up there. And it's warmer up here, but it's not hot up here like that other heater makes it. So I don't even know if that fan's necessary, to be honest, but I'll turn it on anyway. And I've just been messing with this thing, trying to switch it over to Fahrenheit. And in here it literally says, hold the up key for more than 3 seconds to switch between Celsius and Fahrenheit. But when I do that, it goes into like remote pairing mode. So clearly, I just got to figure out how to do it because it ain't how this thing says to do it. And even later on, it says to do the same thing for the remote. So I don't, it must just be a different button I have to hold. Alright, I've been messing with this and I finally figured out how to get this to Fahrenheit. You push and hold the menu button. And it goes into this and you can scroll up and down. There's a bunch of different settings, but so this one right here, you hit the M button and that blinks, then you hit the down, hit the M button again, and then you just hit the power button to get out of there. So now you can see it's on Fahrenheit. That's not the actual temperature in here, that is what it's set at. There's also an auto off function in there, so it'll function as a thermostat. Technically I could set this way down to there. But the thing is, when I do that, it seems like it puts out less heat, which I don't want. See how it's slowing down? Can you hear that? Like it thinks it needs to be running lower
even though it's nowhere close to that temperature. I don't know exactly how to see what the actual temperature is in here. So it must think that it's above whatever I set it to, 70, but I can promise you it's not. See, it's most definitely not already 70 in here. It literally, I think turning my fan on actually hurt us, because in that hour we only went from like 40 to like 44.
And this thing's still pumping out good heat, but I can already tell you it's just not gonna do the job. And I moved this over here because there was a cold draft by the door, but we're still only at about 45 degrees after 3 hours. And we've used about this much fuel. We were at the top of that diamond. I'm not sure how much this thing holds. It's probably a gallon, maybe. I don't know. So I think it's safe to say this thing isn't going to do the job of heating this entire garage. It's a lot to ask, especially when it's like sub 20 outside. I think I'll do the test again on a day that's like maybe 35, and I bet it will do better. But I still think it's going to be handy to have in conjunction with this heater to get everything up to temperature faster. And here's the biggest reason why I want the diesel heater to work. This one puts off fumes. It's not bad, but anytime that I grind or sweep or do anything to make dust, it has blue flames. And as soon as any dust gets kicked up, they turn orange, like a bright orange flame. And basically what it's doing is not burning clean. And when it doesn't burn clean, it kind of puts off fumes because it's a ventless heater. And sometimes it's just downright nasty to be in here. I end up having to open a door to air it out and stuff. So hopefully with this, we can get it up to temperature faster with both of them. Once it's warm, shut that one off, keep running this one. Imagine if you've got a one-car garage or like a shed or like a shipping container or maybe better insulation or not as cold of a climate, it would work for you. Or maybe if you just ran 2 of these, it would work a lot better. Or maybe if I let it run all day long, it would work better. But I'm not going to leave something like this running all day long. I'll post, but...
I wish you a safe journey.
Wish you a safe journey too. So yeah, I'll let you know how that does on a slightly warmer day. It's actually supposed to be in the 30s all week this week, so we'll try again. All right, it's time for test number 2. Today it was like 35, 40 degrees. You can see on here. And right now, 35 degrees out. So I want to see if it does better than when it was 15 outside. So I'm going to fire it up right now and we'll check back in a bit. I know, it's just so professional, right? Powered on.
Start heating.
Alright, there we go. 6:13. Okay, we're about an hour and 10 minutes in now, and it's gone from about 37 up to 44. Come back in another hour. Alright, so it's been another hour, and boy, this has not moved very much. Only another like 4 degrees. So I think that's just kind of showing you how this thing runs. It's so hot though. I don't understand how it's affecting it so little. So I think I've seen what I need to see. This thing, if it's ever going to heat this garage, it's just going to be in conjunction with my existing heater, and then maybe to help maintain after it gets warmed up. Okay, somehow I lost the clip when I came back after the 3rd hour. It only went up like 3 or 4 more degrees. So that pretty much told me what I needed to know. So like I said before, I think this will work for some people, but if you're in a really cold climate or you don't have good insulation or your space is too big, you're either going to need multiples of these, or you're just going to have to use it as like a supplementary thing. Or you could put a bigger fuel tank on it and just run it full time. And maybe if you run it for a day straight, all of a sudden it'll be 65 out here, and then you just have to keep running it. That would probably use a whole bunch of fuel and stuff, but you got to do what you got to do, right? Especially if you got work to do and it's like 0 outside. So anyway, thanks for watching. If y'all got any questions, post comments below. I'll do my best to answer them. I'm no expert on this. I just got it, but I'm learning more every day, and we'll see you next time.